David Littleproud put out a media release that was snapped up by the Telegraph. They ran a front page and an editorial about how farmers were not tapping into their water. The fact is, Murray farmers have been begging government to be able to use water in the full rivers flowing past them. This was a disgraceful attempt to blame the victims for the government mismanagement. But it didn't stop there. We heard Murray-Darling Basin Inspector General Mick Kelty talk about how farmers needed to behave better and not to be so aggressive. I have one question for Mick. Have you asked for better behaviour from the politicians and bureaucrats who created this mess? More than 800 days have passed since the ICAC supposedly started investigating basin plan corruption. There were allegations of a minister allowing irrigators to pump during low flows. Allegations of government shutting down an investigation unit because they started investigating corruption. Allegations of a senior bureaucrat debadging inside information and giving it to corporate government mates. But since then, how many politicians and bureaucrats have been held to account? How many have faced charges? None. Not one. Yes, some farmers have been brought to justice, but the leaders who let them get away with water got off scot-free. Mick Kelty needs to be going after them, not the farmers. This corruption is what all those defenders of the Basin Plan talk about. That's the one thing we saw last week. All these opinion pieces in the media saying that we should stop or we should not scrap the plan. David Patz said, scrapping the Basin Plan is just an attempt to appease a few irrigators. A few irrigators. Look at you. You're here. David Patz also said the state government is the problem. I actually agree with that one. The New South Wales government can make a few simple rule changes with a stroke of a pen, and that would save jobs and lives. They could give back the water they took from us in 2002, the voluntary contributions, or what I call is the stolen water. But they refuse to do so. I will not rest until that water is given back to farmers and the communities. But it's this Basin Plan that really is the source of our problems. Under the plan, water policy is controlled by a secretive, unelected, unaccountable, Canberra-based body, the Murray-Darling Basin Authority. This authority has facilitated corruption, insider trading and mismanagement while making decisions based on flawed science. They also refuse to genuinely consult with the people in the basin communities. That's why we need to pause the plan and hold a Royal Commission. A Royal Commission would set the time frame for a better, fairer water management system. But the major parties don't seem to want that either. I wonder why. You know, I can't believe how much my fellow politicians are able to get away with. We know that there are both state and federal politicians and their families, like those in the building over there, who own water. They trade it. They could be making millions of dollars out of farmers' misery. But there is no obligation at all for them to disclose their water interests. Now, can you believe that in the last 10 years, not one state or federal politician has introduced a bill to force members of Parliament to fess up to their water ownership? I asked the New South Wales Premier whether we should make MPs disclose their water interests last month. Her response? She said, we can trust politicians to proactively disclose their water interests. Trust. She doesn't want to change the law. Again, I wonder why. I'll be introducing this bill to Parliament in the new year. My bill will create an online water register so we know which politicians, which Sydney traders, which foreign companies own water. It'll be interesting to see who votes for it and who votes against it. But until then, we'll need to maintain the rage.